There is a specific feeling that you have likely carried with you for most of your life, a feeling that usually visits you when you are alone. It is not exactly loneliness, though it feels quiet. It is not exactly sadness, though it feels heavy. It is the distinct sensation that the way you process the world is fundamentally different from the people around you. You might walk into a crowded room, a family gathering, or an office meeting, and while everyone else seems to be tuned into the same radio station, laughing at the same rhythm and moving at the same speed, you feel like you are picking up frequencies that no one else hears. For years you may have viewed this difference as a defect. You might have looked at your own habits, the way you talk to yourself, the way you withdraw from crowds, the way you obsess over details, and told yourself that these were signs of awkwardness or anxiety. You might have tried to fix them. You might have tried to smooth out your edges to fit into the round hole of society. But what if I told you that these weird habits, these things you do when no one is watching, are not cracks in your character? What if they are actually evidence of a high-functioning mind? We are going to look at 10 specific behaviors that are often labeled as weird or antisocial, and we are going to look at them through a lens of psychology and quiet observation. We are not here to boost your ego. We are here to help you understand your own machinery. When you understand that your behaviors are the result of a powerful engine running under the hood, you stop fighting yourself. You start observing, and in that observation you find peace. Let's begin with something you probably do every single day, perhaps without even realizing it. You talk to yourself. I don't mean just muttering a grocery list. I mean full, complex conversations. You might be in the shower, or driving your car, or pacing around your kitchen, and you are having a debate. You are playing both sides of an argument. You are explaining a concept to an imaginary audience, or you are replaying a conversation from yesterday to see how it could have gone differently. Society often tells us that talking to oneself is the first sign of madness. If you are caught doing it, you feel embarrassed. You flush with shame and quickly go silent. But let's look at the psychology of why this happens. A mind with high intelligence is a mind that is constantly generating information. It is like a factory that produces ideas faster than the distribution trucks can take them away. When you talk to yourself, you are not hallucinating. You are decluttering. You are using your voice to give physical form to abstract thoughts. It is a way of organizing the chaos. Your working memory, the part of your brain that holds information while you use it, is overloaded. By speaking, you are offloading that data. You are making the thought real so you can look at it, analyze it, and file it away. So the reversal of perspective here is vital. You are not crazy. You are efficient. You are acting as your own therapist and your own professor. The shift you need to make is simple. Stop feeling shame when you catch yourself doing this. Instead of snapping your mouth shut, lean into it. If you are alone and your mind is racing, speak it out. Say, okay, here is what I am worried about. When you externalize the problem, you detach from it. It stops being a storm inside your head and becomes an object in the room that you can handle. This leads us into the second habit, which is often misunderstood as being antisocial or aloof. It is the profound, non-negotiable need for solitude. You might have friends you love. You might have a partner you adore. But there comes a point, perhaps after a long day of work or a weekend of socializing, where you hit a wall. You physically cannot hear another human voice. You need to be in a dark room. You need to stare at a blank wall. You need silence. People might call you introverted or shy or distant. They might ask, is everything okay? Because you've suddenly gone quiet. But beneath the surface, something biological is happening. High intelligence often correlates with high sensitivity to stimuli. Your brain doesn't just see a room, it reads the room. It analyzes the tone of voices, the micro-expressions on faces, the lighting, the background noise. You are processing a massive amount of data every second. Solitude is not about disliking people. Solitude is about emptying the cache. It is the cooling fan kicking on because the processor is hot. The Carl Jung approach here is to understand that your energy flows inward. You build your world from the inside out. The reversal is realizing that your need to withdraw is a survival mechanism for your creativity. You cannot have deep thoughts in shallow water, and you cannot have profound insights while reacting to constant noise. The shift for you is to stop apologizing for your disappearance. You do not need to make up excuses like, "I have a headache," or "I have work to do." You can simply accept that your battery charges differently. Protect your solitude as if your sanity depends on it, because it usually does. Now let's look at your environment. This brings us to the third habit, a tendency toward disorder, or what others might call a mess. Maybe your desk is covered in stacks of paper. Maybe your room looks like a whirlwind passed through it. You know where everything is, but to an outsider, it looks like chaos. You have probably been told since childhood to clean your room and get organized, and you have probably felt guilty that you can't seem to maintain a pristine space. But let's look closer. There is a concept in psychology that suggests a messy environment can actually stimulate creative thinking. If your mind is fixated on high-level concepts, solving a problem, creating art, understanding a system, it deprioritizes the low-level tasks like straightening a rug or filing a receipt. The energy it would take to keep everything perfectly aligned is energy stolen from the work you are doing in your head. Einstein was known for a messy desk. The psychological truth is that you are not lazy, you are prioritizing. You live in the world of ideas, not the world of things. The reversal here is to stop equating a messy desk with a messy character. Order in the mind often requires a tolerance for disorder in the physical realm. Of course, this doesn't mean living in filth. But the inner shift is to release the shame of not being perfect. If your space is functional for you, if you can find what you need, then it serves its purpose. Your value is not determined by how much your living room looks like a catalog photo. It is determined by the quality of the thoughts you produce while you are in that room. Connecting to this flow of time and space, we find the fourth habit. You are likely a night owl. You struggle to fall asleep at a normal time. You find that your brain actually wakes up around 10 p.m. While the rest of the world is winding down, you are suddenly getting your best ideas. You want to write, read, or research. Parents and teachers may have called this poor discipline. They told you, early to bed, early to rise. But let's look at the quiet psychology of the night. Why do you love it? Because the world stops demanding things from you. At 2 a.m. no one is emailing you. No one is calling you. The expectations of society are asleep. For a high-functioning, highly sensitive mind, this is the only time you feel truly free. It is a protective bubble of silence where you can be your authentic self without the mask. The reversal is to stop fighting your circadian rhythm if you can help it. You are not bad for sleeping late. You are seeking a sanctuary of time. The inner shift is to use this time intentionally. Don't just scroll through your phone until your eyes burn. If you are awake, use the silence. Write in a journal, read something difficult, sit in the dark and just breathe. Appreciate that you have found a pocket of time that belongs only to you. This need for depth over surface brings us to the fifth habit, which can be socially painful, an extreme intolerance for small talk. You are at a party or a networking event or even just the hair salon. Someone asks, "So how about this heat?" Or, "What are your plans for the weekend?" And you feel a physical resistance. It feels exhausting to answer. You might come across as rude or awkward because you give short answers just to end the interaction. This happens because a high IQ mind craves patterns, depth, and new information. Small talk is, by definition, low information. It is a social lubricant meant to signal safety, not to exchange ideas. But to you it feels like eating cardboard. You are hungry for substance, and you are being fed filler. You want to ask, "What is your biggest regret?" Or, "Do you think we have free will?" But you know that is socially unacceptable. The reversal here is realizing that your awkwardness is actually a hunger for connection. You don't hate people, you hate the walls that people put up. You want to see who they really are. The inner shift is to learn how to bridge the gap. You don't have to suffer through the weather talk. You can gently steer the conversation. If someone asks, "How are you?" instead of saying "good," try saying, "I've been thinking a lot today about how fast this year is going. Do you feel that too?" You might be surprised. When you drop the mask and offer a little bit of depth, often the other person is relieved to drop their mask too. And if they don't, that is okay. You can detach and move on. Moving deeper into the mind, we find the sixth habit, frequent daydreaming or zoning out. You might be in a meeting and suddenly you realize you haven't heard a word for 5 minutes. Your eyes are glazed over. You were miles away, thinking about a scene in a movie, or how engines work, or a conversation you had 10 years ago. Teachers call this inattention. But in neuroscience, this is the activation of the default mode network. This is the state the brain goes into when it is not focused on the outside world. And contrary to what you were told, this is where the magic happens. This is where your brain connects dots that are far apart. It is where problem-solving happens beneath your conscious awareness. When you zone out, you aren't emptying your mind. You are running simulations. You are testing future scenarios. The reversal is that this absence is actually a high-powered presence in your own mental landscape. You are visiting the potential future. The inner shift is to allow yourself to drift when it is safe to do so. Do not snap yourself back with guilt. If you catch yourself staring out the window, stay there for a moment. Let the thought finish its path. That daydream might hold the solution to the problem you've been stuck on for weeks. The seventh habit is a strange one. You have an obsessive curiosity about random, seemingly useless topics. One week you are obsessed with the history of the Roman Empire. The next week you need to know everything about how sourdough bread rises. You fall down rabbit holes of information. You read articles, watch documentaries, and absorb data that has nothing to do with your job or your daily life. People might say, "Why do you need to know that?" or call you a know-it-all. But this is a sign of a mind that is hungry for patterns. High intelligence is basically the ability to recognize patterns. By learning about history and biology and mechanics and cooking, you are building a massive database. Eventually, you will see a connection between the Roman Empire and baking bread that no one else sees. This is the essence of creativity, combining two old ideas to make a new one. The reversal is that there is no such thing as useless knowledge to a mind like yours. Everything is fuel. The shift is to feed the beast. Don't restrict your curiosity because it doesn't fit your career path. Follow the thread. If you are interested in it, there is a reason. Trust your instinct to learn. The eighth habit is a tendency toward existential anxiety or overthinking. You don't just worry about paying the bills. You worry about the heat death of the universe. You worry about the meaning of life. You replay mistakes you made 5 years ago. Your mind is constantly looking for threats, inconsistencies, and logical fallacies. This can be painful. It can lead to paralysis. But psychologically, this is the shadow side of a vivid imagination. You have the ability to visualize the future in high definition. Because you can visualize the future so well, you can visualize all the things that could go wrong. It is a survival mechanism that has been turned up too high. The reversal perspective is vital here. Your anxiety is not a weakness, it is a misused power. It is a sign of a powerful simulation engine. The inner shift is to practice the role of the watcher. When the scary thoughts come, imagine you are sitting on a riverbank and the thoughts are leaves floating by. You don't have to jump in the river and drown in them. You can just watch them. Oh, there is a thought about failure. That is interesting. Watch it float by. This is emotional detachment. You are not your thoughts. You are the one observing the thoughts. The ninth habit is a dark sense of humor or a heavy use of sarcasm. You might find things funny that others find tragic or inappropriate. You might make jokes that land with a thud because they are too cynical. Psychologically, humor, especially dark humor, requires a very high level of cognitive processing. You have to take a situation, detach from the emotional horror of it, flip the perspective, and find an absurdity, all in a fraction of a second. It is a defense mechanism, yes. It is a way of coping with the harshness of the world. But it is also a sign of mental agility. The reversal is that your dark humor is a way of processing pain, not creating it. It is how you stay sane in an insane world. The shift, however, is to be aware of your audience. Not everyone processes at your speed or with your detachment. Use your humor as a shield for yourself, but be careful not to use it as a sword against others. Keep your kindness intact. Finally, the 10th habit. A high sensitivity to physical discomfort, specifically noises, textures, or lights. The tag on your shirt feels like sandpaper. The ticking of a clock sounds like a hammer hitting an anvil. Someone chewing gum loudly makes you feel irrational rage, a condition known as misophonia. You might be called picky or high maintenance, but this is often linked to low latent inhibition. Most brains have a filter that blocks out background noise so they can focus. Your filter is thinner. You let more data in. You hear everything, feel everything, see everything. It is overwhelming, but it is also why you notice details others miss. It is why you can appreciate a subtle change in music or a tiny detail in a painting. The reversal is that you are not weak. You are open. You are a high-resolution instrument. The shift is to curate your environment without apology. Cut the tags off your shirts. Buy the noise-cancelling headphones. Turn down the lights. You are the caretaker of a sensitive machine. You must maintain it properly so it can function. So where does this leave us? We have walked through the house of your mind, and we have opened the closets where you hid these habits. We have looked at the talking to yourself, the need for silence, the mess, the late nights, the hatred of small talk, the zoning out, the obsession, the anxiety, the dark humor, and the sensitivity. The world may have told you these were flaws. The world may have told you to just be normal, but the psychological truth is that normal is just an average, and you are not operating at the average. The goal of this understanding is not to make you feel superior to others. That is a trap of the ego. The goal is to make you feel at peace with yourself. That is the way of the spirit. When you stop fighting your nature, you free up a tremendous amount of energy. Imagine how tired you are from trying to pretend you don't need solitude. Imagine how tired you are from trying to force yourself to care about the weather. When you let that go, you get that energy back. You can finally sit in the chair of your own life. You can accept that you are a person who needs deep diving, who needs quiet, who sees patterns, and who feels deeply. This is the inner shift. It is a quiet resignation, but a happy one. It is the moment you stop swimming upstream against your own current. You turn around and you let the river take you. You realize that the way you are is not an accident. It is a design. You are built for observation. You are built for analysis. You are built for depth. So, the next time you catch yourself whispering to yourself in a quiet room or staring at a wall while the world rushes by, do not judge yourself. Do not tense up. Just breathe. Smile internally and recognize it for what it is. It is just the engine running, and it is running perfectly.